Today, we're going to cover many of the things that you need to know to start a successful cookie business from home. And before I forget, I've got a free resource for you. If you're struggling to come up with a perfect name for your bakery, I've put together a bakery name ideas download to help spark some inspiration and get those creativity juices flowing. You can grab it at trendymint.com, and I will also put the link down below. So whether you're just thinking about starting or you've already sold a few batches and want to take things to the next level, this episode is going to be packed with some helpful tips. Let's get started. Fresh out of the oven and straight to your ears, welcome to Trendy Mint Podcast, where we're baking up big business dreams one cookie at a time. Whether you're rolling in the dough, literally, or just getting started, you're in the right place. Grab your apron and let's get into it. One of the first questions people ask when thinking about starting a home cookie business is this actually profitable? And the answer is yes, absolutely. But like any business, profitability depends on several factors. Let's break it down. Many home bakers earn anywhere from a few $100s a month to several $1,000s a month. Some even make this a full-time career. What makes the difference? Pricing, demand, and efficiency. If you price your cookies too low, you'll struggle to make a profit. If you don't market yourself effectively, you won't get enough customers. And if your process isn't efficient, you'll spend too much time on each order, making it hard to scale. So for example, if you sell a dozen decorated sugar cookies for $50 and you take 5 orders a week, that's $1,000 a month. If you scale up, take larger orders, or offer premium or add-on services, that number can grow significantly. I've seen bakers make $5,000 or more per month once they establish their brand and pricing. Of course, you can't say that that's all going to be profit. If you price your sugar cookies at $50 a dozen and that $1,000 a month isn't going to be complete profit. You have to take into account ingredients and packaging, and those things can add up, but you also need to account for your time. The great thing about a cookie business is that you can control a lot of your costs. You can control your schedule and your pricing. One of the biggest mistakes new bakers make is undercharging. They think, well, I love doing this, so I shouldn't charge too much. But remember, your time, skill, and creativity are valuable, and customers are willing to pay for high quality custom cookies. If you're just starting out and maybe your quality isn't, $50 a dozen quality, then definitely don't charge $50 a dozen. When I first started selling cookies a few years ago, I did $25 a dozen. And looking back, I think that was a pretty fair price for where my quality was at. It definitely has improved over time, and yours will too. So there's nothing wrong with starting your pricing on the lower side, gaining that clientele that is, going to just get hooked on your product because, of course, you're going to have an amazing recipe or recipes when you start this, and getting them hooked on your profit, getting them in the door, and impressing them. Always go above and beyond, and those customers will keep coming back. And then as your skills improve, raise your prices. Really make cookies at home and sell them. Well, it's not a cut and dry answer. And unfortunately, I can't answer it for you. The answer is yes, but there are rich food laws, which simply means you're selling food from your home. That means you're not making it in a commercial space or, have your own bakery, that kind of thing. So cottage food laws vary by state or by county and determine what products you can sell from your home kitchen. Some states allow only non-perishable baked goods, while others have stricter requirements. You will likely need a business license or a permit to legally operate. It's important to check with your local health department to see what's required. Some areas also have kitchen inspection requirements to ensure your setup meets basic food safety standards. Now, what do you actually need to start? Well, here's a quick checklist. You're going to need essential equipment. And essential equipment may be the very, very most basic equipment you can think of. I actually, somebody I follow on Instagram that used to make cookies and sell them, but doesn't anymore. She put on Instagram that when she started making cookies, she was using a wine bottle for her rolling pin. Yes. So, um, you can get as bare bones minimum as you want starting out. And I really suggest you just start small. Don't spend more than you have. Reinvest your profit into your business and grow from there. I mean, a few essential things that I personally think that you would need to have is a good mixer. Of course, you can always mix by hand, but a good mixer, baking sheets, decorating tools such as piping bags, your food coloring, that kind of thing. And of course, packaging materials. You're going to want to make sure if you're doing decorated cookies, you're going to want to heat seal those in a bag. And you don't have to have a heat sealer. There's other methods of sealing the bags, and the bags are really pretty cheap. You're going to want something to put them in, but this can range in price from just minimal to as much as you want to spend. Um, it took me a while to figure out what kind of packaging I was going to use and what worked best for size wise and cost. And at one point, I was just going to Dollar Tree and buying some different sized baskets and such. Um, because honestly, if you're going to spend a dollar something on an item, why not make it something that can be reused? So another thing you're going to need to start is high quality ingredients. So another thing you're going to need to start selling cookies, and this may seem kind of obvious, but you're going to need a good set of recipes. So I would start your menu small and with some recipes that are tried and true that you've made and you love and other people love that you've, had try your baking. And you're going to want recipes that are consistent. You don't want to have a recipe that you never know if your cookies are going to spread or not, or if you need to chill your dough or you don't, and that kind of thing. You want something that you can depend on that's going to give you a consistent product every time. And your customers are going to expect to get a consistent product every time. Another thing that I would say you need to start out with is some kind of labels that you can put on your items that say the ingredients, any allergy warnings, just your general information. And this information you put on the label will be dictated by your state or county jurisdiction. You will have to look up what they recommend. In my state, they actually don't require you to even label your cottage food items you sell, which is kind of crazy. I know. I label mine because I feel like that is the, right thing to do to tell people what they are consuming. But when I first started making labels for my cookies, I went to Walmart and bought the pack of the printer labels, put them in my printer, printed out these labels. Did they look great? Not really, but they serve their purpose and it is what it is. Then, as I grew and could reinvest into my business, I ended up purchasing a small thermal printer, which prints labels and no ink is required. And it is one of the best purchases I have made. Another thing you're going to need is a pricing strategy. You're going to need to know the cost of your ingredients. You're going to need to factor in your time and charge accordingly. Also, I would have some kind of a contract um, or agreement that could be presented with a customer's invoice about their order and about the ordering process so that it's just clear for everybody. You also need to look into setting up some type of business entity that is official. You want to officially claim your bakery name. You're going to want a tax ID number. Of course, any income you make has to be reported. And I would recommend you consult a tax professional to answer all of those questions for you. Establishing your business as a legal entity helps to protect you, and it just makes your business look more professional. And you'll also claim your business name. So you're going to want to separate your finances so that you are not spending money or taking in money into a personal account. You're going to want to keep all of that separate because if anything were to happen later on, where say like a customer has a lawsuit against you or that kind of thing, it's my understanding if you're using your personal account that they can kind of tap into that, I guess. So you want to have everything separated out. Like I said, I've been in your shoes. I know that setting everything up seems so overwhelming, but if you do the right steps and get the foundation set up correctly, you're pretty well set. And the next thing to focus on is where are you going to get your first customer? And that's what we're going to be talking about next. Join us next time on the next podcast. Until next time, stay sweet.